Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. Let's have for today's video. The beer is interestingly courtesy of Fiden's Brewing Company. So I don't know what it was, a month and a half ago maybe, I was there grabbing beer, and they were like, hey, have you ever had anything from Sapwood? I was like, no. So they threw this in for free. I think they must have done a collab with them, and they brought up some, if I'm remembering correctly, there might have been a post about it even, that they were doing a collab. So my guess is Sapwood brought a bunch of their beer up, since I've never seen it in this market. But Sapwood Cellars is a brewery, and this one has coffee in it, and the coffee is from Vigilante Coffee. This is 6.5% ABV. It's called Threat Level Morning, which I'm hoping beyond all hope that that's a reference to The Office's Threat Level Midnight. Scottish style stout with coffee added. I don't know what a Scottish style stout is. While we love massive hulking dark beer, sometimes you want to drink a whole can of stout by yourself. Despite its restrained strength, we don't sacrifice malt intensity or body. The base stout was inspired by Scottish ales with Golden Promise pale malt, dark caramel malt, and roasted barley. We added a twist with freshly roasted coffee beans locally roasted by Vigilante Coffee in Hyattsville, Maryland, added mere days before canning. The coffee intensifies the chocolate notes from the malt while bringing its own grape and dried fruit aromatics. Cheers, Mike and Scott. Michael Scott? It's all connected. This beer is vegan. Very cool. Refrigerate, drink fresh. It is, at time of review, 2.5 months old. So not very fresh. Sorry. But it's been kept cold the whole time. Deep brown. I bet when it's in the glass it's gonna look black, but yeah, definitely a very deep brown. It's not motor oil, but it's so obvious. You pour out that dark brown. Once it's gonna be concentrated in a glass, it's gonna come across as a light black color. So somewhere between those two. I'm gonna move on because I could keep repeating myself. Almost exactly a finger of a mocha head. Very appropriate given that this is a coffee beer. Super compact bubbles except on top. Definitely looks like a stout in that, like, I know it's 6.5, like seven, or maybe like 6 to 8 range. Before you get into what could be more black motor oil or approaching motor oil. Anyway, let's get into the aroma. Big coffee, love it. I'm a huge coffee drinker. If you don't know that about me, and man, this has a lot of nice coffee. Beyond the actual coffee, there's a nice roast that you identify with a stout, actually. So even though those are very overlapping things, obviously, there is an actual beer roastiness to this. Some very dark chocolate. And actually, that coffee, besides being like what you think brewed coffee smells like, it very much smells like freshly ground coffee beans. And then it's reminding me of eating dark chocolate covered coffee beans, and kind of as you're chewing and maybe your mouth opens and you get a whiff in your nose of you breaking up all of those essential oils and stuff. It really is that intense of an actual whole bean coffee with some of that dark chocolate. Kiss of vanilla. Don't know what's making that. Maybe it's just because I get a little bit of milk chocolate, so now I'm tricking my brain into thinking there's vanilla. A little bit of blueberry. Yeah, it smells like, you tell me you got a coffee stout between 6 and 8%. This is what that should smell like. Interestingly, it doesn't seem like a very complex smelling beer. I get roasty stoutiness and coffee in a coffee stout, but the nuance, the levels, the layers of what the coffee's doing, the roast is doing, is quite something. Let's get into a glass. Cheers. Tell you what, that drink's a little bit bigger than I would have thought. And I know there's no lactose in it, but I was getting a little bit of that vanilla potentially. It has such a nice creamy mouthfeel That's really impressive because I think a lot of breweries would lean on lactose to get that effect. There's some sweetness to it. It's, man, this is nice. You have that stout roastiness, just like I was saying in aroma. Like the beer itself is kicking out a nice roasty robustness like it should. The coffee accentuating it without overpowering it, and then also coming through as its own thing, which is really nice. And again, that mouth feels nice. It's, man, there's a little bit of like a nut brown ale element to it as well. I get a little bit of nuttiness to it, the way the roast slight caramel thing is there in the taste. I can see some of that berry. That was one of the notes they even said, right? While bringing its own grape and dried fruit, okay, aromatics, as they're saying. Yeah, I don't get grape at any point. But I can see, okay, so dried fruit. Okay, so I guess they aren't saying berry. I get a little bit of that berry thing. Dried fruit, like raisins and stuff? Without the sweetness. Okay, fair enough. I could see like a raisin, but not as sweet. This is hitting me just right. It's kind of earlier in the day. It is afternoon. And having a coffee beer that has this much robust and real coffee while still drinking like a stout, really impressive. I like this a lot. Okay, I like this a lot. Well done, Sapwood. Have you had this beer before? Have you had anything else from Sapwood? Have you had a nice coffee beer lately? Have you had a nice roast of coffee? Anything, everything. Comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So always please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.